Listen, I get tired of the NBA at times. I really do. I get worn down. I've made no secret of it. But I'll tell you, yesterday was awesome. Yesterday was great. I've said it for weeks. I'm sick of talking about the Olympic team like we talk about the NBA. I just want to sit back and cheer and root for USA. And yesterday's 17-point comeback by the United States against Serbia was amazing. Doug had even asked me right before tip-off, like, do you care about this game? I go, I will care during the game. I go, it's not going to bother me afterwards. It didn't bother me leading up to it, but as the game was going on, it was great. It was exciting. And you know what? I was actually wrong a little bit. There was a good feeling afterwards.
Yeah, because they came out of it. There was adversity, something we hadn't seen, and Serbia was playing really well. All the itches were just on top of it.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes. But the U.S. got their tough actin' and were able to get stuff to stop and put an end by outscoring Serbia by 17 points in the fourth quarter. I thought it was great to hear Kevin Durant talk about, this is what it's all about. This is about us enjoying this.
Is he still arguing with people on Twitter?
He was arguing with people who were saying that the U.S. got lucky and that they should just get by, and that's what he was arguing. He says we should enjoy it. This is what this was all about. This was great to play with this group of players, and I agree with Kevin Durant. And I hope Major League Baseball is listening.
Why so, Dan?
Because Major League Baseball today made an announcement that had some say, wow, cool, and others kind of scratching their head.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Major League Baseball officially announced, and this was leaked a day or two ago, that a game was going to be played at Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, on the infield of the short track. And sure enough, Braves and Reds are going to play there August 2nd, 2025. A game is going to be played in the infield of a NASCAR track. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty cool. I would say not as cool as the Field of Dreams game. All right? While I think it's unique, I think the Field of Dreams game is more rooted in baseball.
Right, gives you the feels.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. But you know what else gave me the feels? Watching Team USA come back from 17 points down with its best players to beat Serbia.
Yeah.
And this leads to the point. One sport we aren't talking about in the Olympics is baseball, because baseball is not a part of the program in 2024, but it will be in 2028. And I just feel that Major League Baseball, and this has been talked about, and Bryce Harper has said, made it be known, hey, I'd love to be an Olympian. We need Major League Baseball players in the Olympic Games. When baseball is a part of the program, and it looks like it's going to be a part of the program in 2032 as well, when it is in Brisbane, Australia, that we have something to get excited about. And if it was, no offense to the no-name players, but if there were no-name players playing baseball, we would not be wrapped up into it. We've seen it in hockey. When hockey now has the NHL players in, it is a much more exciting watch. I remember, when Ryan Miller of the Buffalo Sabres was the goalie for Team USA, and he's getting standing ovations when he returns to action in the NHL because of what they did and what Team USA did in the Olympics. And I think that's what Major League Baseball needs. That is what Major League Baseball, it's not going to a movie set in a cornfield in Iowa. It's not going to a NASCAR track. This is the way to really bring people in, to get them hooked. If you can have Major League Baseball players play in the Olympic Games and do so in 2028, I think it would be such a boom for baseball, bigger than they've probably done anything in the last decade or so.
I don't disagree with you, especially just because a baseball season is so long. The Olympics, it's like it is literally win or go home. You can't take it easy one game and then the next game turn it on. And to see the best of the best but kind of split off, kind of like the World Baseball Classic. I mean, everybody loved that this past time. Everybody was waiting for Ohtani against Mr. Trout. Everyone was waiting for that moment. It would be something like that. It gives you the feels.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm with you.
And I actually think the success of the WBC shows that it would be successful in the Olympics. Now, you may not have an enormous amount of countries competing, but still, if you had 8, if you had 12, if you were able to get 16, however it was done, it would be worth watching. I don't think that there would be as much of a strain on certain players if you were to have certain pitchers. The Olympics is a 2-week deal.
Exactly.
Figure out a way where you play 3 or 4 or 5 games. If you have Paul Skeens pitching for Team USA, how awesome would that be?
It would be so good. It would be so good.
But he's not going to pitch every other day.
No.
So if you're the Pirates, what is it? Maybe a start or 2 or 2 or 3 starts. I understand why there may be some trepidation with some of the Major League Baseball teams, but you talk about the gains and the way that you can grow the game. It's neat to have a game in the middle of a NASCAR track. It's neat to have a game in Iowa, and maybe Sam has been to the Field of Dreams game. Maybe he could correct me on this. But those are just flashes in the pan. I don't know. Baseball fans are going to go to Iowa and see that game, or Iowans are going to go to that game. I don't know how many new baseball fans you will get from it. I just know that when you go to the Olympics, you have the ability to bring in new fans, and you raise the visual aspect of your sport another level or two. And I think that's what Major League Baseball needs.
Yeah, it seems like a missed opportunity. I mean, no disrespect to breakdancing, but I'd rather watch a baseball game than breakdancing. And I'll tune into So You Think You Can Dance, Dancing with the Stars. This isn't about that. It's just, how is baseball not part of the Olympics? Honestly, who dropped the ball?
There's France did not have it as part of their program because it was France and baseball aren't the biggest. So apparently breakdancing is. But the United States will be bringing it back in 2028. And then, as I mentioned, in 2032, it's back again. And listen, the NBA is also not going to go right into their season. This has happened in their off season. But I just don't feel like if you were Major League Baseball in 2028, what is better for you? Having a home run derby and all-star game, or having a week or 2 off, allowing your players to go and play in the Olympics?
I don't even think that's a question.
Yeah.
I don't even think you can. If you were to ask players, fans, everyone would say, no, get rid of the All-Star game, go to the Olympics. That's not even a question.
Isaac Lowenkron at the news desk.
You know, you brought up that 2010 gold medal ice hockey game between the U.S. and Canada. The TV audience in the United States for that game, 33 million. The average TV audience for the 2023 World Series, just over 9 million.
Wow.
So by putting that into perspective, how can you not?
Yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer. Yesterday was awesome seeing the U.S. come back and do so with LeBron and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Joel Embiid all on the same team. It's actually the point of why the 92 Dream Team, I think, is just so resonates so much, especially with the Magic and Bird, because they were adversaries for so long. They were complete opposites. I mean, we've had documentary after documentary about how, different they were, and obviously you're meeting in NBA Finals. You met in an NCAA championship game, but then to see them in the same uniform on the same team, how awesome is that? How awesome would that to be able to see on an Olympic stage? I know we can in the WBC stage, but again, maybe not everybody is playing in those contests. But I'll tell you what, you put an Olympic medal on the line, and I think you're having more and more players saying, like, yeah, I'll play for that, as opposed to the WBC, which, by the way, I think has made great strides. I actually think it's a neat event and it's a worthwhile event. But guess what? The World Cup is every 4 years, just like the Euros are every 4 years. You just have it every 2. So figure out a way where you have baseball in the Olympics, and then you have the WBC 2 years later. Make it work that way. But to me, it would be a prudent and smart thing for Major League Baseball to allow their players to be able to play.
And it's just, these are the moments where you hear always like, oh, he's a plumber Monday through Friday, but here he is playing in the Olympics. Like, those are the fun stories. And yeah, seeing your favorite players, your favorite stars, NBA stars playing together, and then playing against fellow NBA stars, like, it's just something you don't get to see, you don't get to experience. And I don't know why baseball doesn't jump on the opportunity. I like what you said, every 2 years, like, you have one of these events.
Sure.
Like, I do it now. Why are we not jumping on this opportunity?
Ryan Bershinger is our executive producer. Do you see any drawbacks? I know GMs are probably saying, hold on a second here, but is there anything that we are missing?
Hold on.
That's a drop of me, Monty. It's not really me.
I mean, the stuff that complicates it is the boring stuff to talk about, like TV deals and everything. Like, you can't really shorten the season because there's so many. Every team has their own TV contract that's already baked in with 162. That's why it's hard to shorten seasons as it is. So then you're looking at like either pushing back the second half of the season where you're playing the World Series in like mid-November, or you're starting the season earlier, like mid-March, maybe early March.
We're already doing that.
Yeah.
We're already starting earlier every year.
Yeah. But the point is like there's a lot of logistics that would make it difficult to accomplish, and you have to have Major League Baseball work specifically with the Olympics. We think about what happened with hockey, right? Like, Olympic hockey was great and a ton of fun to watch, but then NHL's deal with the Olympics ran out and they weren't able to renegotiate something. So then they didn't have professional players, they couldn't stop the season, and those Olympics were nobody cared.
Sure. $33 million, as you said, that gold medal game in 2010.
Yeah.
In Vancouver.
Yeah. So like it's very difficult because the Tokyo Olympics did have baseball, but I remember for the 2020 it did have baseball.
Yeah.
And you're looking at like the American team, for example, you had some interesting prospects, and then you had guys like Edwin Jackson and Scott Kazmir who were at the end of their careers. So like there were ways to get. Todd Frazier was on that Olympic team. It's just, in order to actually generate interest for it, the league has to stop playing, and you get the biggest stars to play.
Go ahead,
No,
Monty.
all I was gonna say, I think the players can force the issue. Like, if Bryce Harper and all these Aaron Judge, all these players come out like, I want to be an Olympian. I think they can force the issue.
I think that you're right about that. I think that their voice would lend a lot of power to it. But I also think of all of these hurdles that we're talking about, the logistics, it's worth it for the boost and the boom that you're going to get. Iowa Sam, you went to the Field of Dreams game. What was the long-term gain of Major League Baseball playing? Did they play 2 games? It was 2 seasons. They played the White Sox and Yankees, and then wasn't it like Cubs and Reds?
The first game was the Yankees and the White Sox, and yes, the Cubs and the Reds the next year.
Okay.
And then it will be coming back. I think the long-term plan is to make it a yearly thing.
Sure,
and
but that's not going to lift baseball. It's a one-off thing where if, like, hey, you want to make a summer vacation trip, let's go to the Field of Dreams game.
It's for baseball diehards. It's something something to feed. It's red meat for the core baseball audience, the very nostalgic, sentimental baseball fans.
Sure.
To make a trip to a special place where a movie was filmed.
Bristol Motor Speedway as well is in a spot where you're not necessarily surrounded by a ton of Major League Baseball, where it's in the way eastern part, right on the border of Tennessee and Virginia. So you've got people who are probably baseball fans that are craving something like that. But again, it's a one-night thing, and it's a novelty thing. If you do it for the Olympics, like, it carries on. I remember the time, I'll use golf as an example. My niece, this is 2017 when the U.S. Open was back in Wisconsin at Erin Hills, and I took my niece, who was 10 at the time, and I took her to the course, and we spent the day there. And she didn't care about the Masters. She doesn't know about the PGA Championship and the Open Championship. She just knew that she was at a golf tournament with her uncle. And we walked around, and we had a fun day, and I was showing her golf, and Justin Rose was signing autographs. And I told her that Justin Rose won gold in the Olympics the year prior in 2016. And she got his autograph, and she thought that was an amazing deal.
Oh, that's cool.
Wouldn't have mattered if it was, Bubba Watson, a 2-time Master champ. Obviously, Tiger Woods would have been. Tiger didn't play that tournament, but like, there's only so many people that you knew as a casual fan in golf, and there were very, very few. But to have it resonate, if I said that was your PGA champion in 2002, she's like, "Who's Rich Beam?" I don't know, but to say like gold medalist.
It rings differently.
Yes, it did.
It did.
And so I think that's the sort of growth that you can also get. And honestly, I think players would dig it. Bryce Harper would, talked about. Maybe he's going to be too old at that point to play. I'm not sure, but that's where Major League Baseball has to go. It's not playing at a NASCAR park. It's making sure that your game gets in the Olympics, and then we end up feeling passionate about that sport. And then out of the break, I still feel that you have a hangover effect, and it takes you right into the rest of the year.